Almost there. Chapter 42, Tiana. Tiana and Lizette took off for the French Quarter. As they made it past the dock, Tiana had a difficult time comprehending what she was seeing. It looked like something out of a nightmare. The fetid vegetation that covered the river and dock that had invaded the city, climbing across the train tracks and over the stalls of the French market. The slimy growth covered the abandoned baskets of the vendors' wares, as if people had dropped everything and scurried away with all haste. Her horror only escalated as they marched on. The algae had made its way into the French Quarter. It had climbed up the exterior walls and wrought iron galleries of the structures that lined Dexter Street. As I waited on the other side of the street while a line of cars passed, Tiana cringed at the nauseating sound the Model Ts made rolling over the boggy substance with their tires. She would probably hear that sickening squish in her sleep for years to come. "It's this way," Lizette motioned for her to follow. "Down this promenade." "You sure you remember?" Tiana asked as they made their way through along the walkway between Jackson Square and the Manitoba townhouses. "I'm sure," Lizette said. "She lives in this big red building. There's a courtyard that has a stone fountain in the middle of it, and the fountain has a bunch of little naked babies carved into the sides of it." "Cherubs?" "Whatever they're called," Lizette said with a shrug. "They're naked and holding musical instruments. Tiana is on the second floor. I can't remember which place exactly, but I know she's there." Lizette gasped when they arrived at the end of the promenade. She pointed to their left. "Look at that!" Tiana pressed her fist into her mouth as she tried to make sense of what was happening. The algae undulated, rolling toward the step of St. Louis Cathedral, then retreating just as quickly as if an invisible force fought to keep it at bay. An odd but undeniably radiant energy resonated from the area surrounding the church. Its creamy, alabaster-covered facade remained pristine, while everything around it was overrun by dark green sludge. What kind of terror had Facilier unleashed? "I don't know what's going on, but I have to stop it," Tiana said. "Let's hurry and get to Tilan's," Lizette said. "She'll know what to do." "What if she's moved since the last time you were here?" Tiana called after her. "She's lived in the building as long as I've been alive. She's there. Trust me." It wasn't easy to put her faith in a teenage girl who didn't really know the city, but what choice did she have? They hurried beyond the cathedral and the convent. "Here it is," Lizette said, stopping at the gate of a deep red brick building with pretty flower baskets hanging from the ornate wrought iron galleries. "See, I told you," she said, looking back at Tiana and smiling, as if guiding her to a random building in the quarter proved anything. They entered the gate and found their way to the courtyard. The fountain etched with cherubs sat in the center of it, just as Lizette claimed it would. Tiana surveyed the area, hoping for any telltale sign that would indicate which of these apartments housed a voodoo lady from Haiti. "I think you're looking for me." She whipped around. A tall, stunningly gorgeous woman stood a few feet away, a wicker basket overflowing with stems of fragrant lavender hooked on the crook of her arm. She wore a gauzy, flowing caftan. Colorful embroidered flowers ran along the neckline and hem of the pale peach dress. Tiana stopped short. Something about her eyes seemed familiar. "I'd been expecting you," the woman said. "T. Rosalind!" Lizette ran to her, enveloping her in a hug. Shock rooted Tiana where she stood. She wasn't hunched over, and she was no longer wearing layers and layers of clothes, but... "Miss Rose?" she whispered. "Wait, you already know my Tiland?" Lizette asked. "I know Rose, the flower vendor," Tiana said. "Hello, Tiana," the woman replied. She wrapped an arm around Lizette, who continued to stare up at her with worshipful eyes. "Your trip to Odie's place took longer than I anticipated it would." "How did you know where I went? What is happening?" I gather you lost the brooch I gave you," Miss Rose said, as her gaze traveled from the tip of Tiana's feet to the tip of her head. Tiana knew she looked at fright with her tattered, mud-stained clothes. "But," the woman continued, "I trust it provided at least some protection to you while on your journey. I'm sorry that I could not do more, but my giving you the brooch very likely tested the limits of what is allowed." "Allowed?" "By the universe," Miss Rose said. "Much has been imposed upon it already because of your involvement with Facilier." Tiana released a shocked gasp. She took several steps back. "What do you know about Facilier?" "I know much more about him than you do. which is why you need to listen as to what I have to say. The universe is not at all pleased." The woman was talking in riddles with her vague assertions about the universe. It compounded Tiana's bewilderment over discovering that the old flower monger apparently knew more about her than she'd first thought. Her head was swirling. You've been lying," Tiana said. "You've been lying to me, manipulating me this entire time." The hurt and confusion clogged her throat, made it difficult to get the words out. "I have not," Miss Rose said. "Can someone explain what's going on?" Lizette asked. Miss Rose turned to the girl. "I just made a batch of those tea cakes you like. Why don't you go up and have some? We'll be right there." Tiana was shaking her head. "No, we won't," she said, backing away. "Tiana." The woman's voice was stern, uncompromising. "There is no time for you to be upset with me. There are powerful forces at play here, much more powerful than you or I, more powerful than the Shadow Man. Facilier doesn't have the powers you think he has. He's the one who has been manipulating you." She hitched her head toward the staircase Lizette had climbed up. "Follow me. I'll explain everything." "No!" Tiana stated more forcefully. The woman's brow shot up. "I don't know who you are," Tiana said. "With your flowers and your paintings and all your other gifts. What was that all about?" "I will explain," Miss Rose said, her voice even harder than before. Tiana refused to be intimidated. She'd been lied to, manipulated. Again. What kind of game was this woman playing with her? "I'm supposed to trust you?" "Yes," Miss Rose stated. "I'm the only one who can help, and at this point I'm not sure how. There's no time to waste." Tiana backed away, not wanting to turn for fear of what the woman would do. She didn't know what to think or whom to trust. "I've put up with enough lies from the Shadow Man," Tiana said. "As far as I'm concerned, you're no better than he is." She turned on her heel and raced out of the courtyard, past the gate, into the only sanctuary she could think of.